Hi guys. Okay, so we're gonna be looking at our body paragraphs for your crossover essay. Now, if it's helpful, you can go ahead and take that first paper off. Not a big deal. Okay, so I'm gonna pull my camera back up. Okay, so again, I did not make this specific to the crossover. Okay, so what we have here, give me 1 second. Okay, that's better. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I did not make this specific to the crossover just because I wanted to remind you guys that this is kind of what every essay ever should look like. I'm also going to remind you that you can kind of cut a couple of these out. If you're running out of time, if you feel like you're like during the state test, you don't have to have 2 pieces of evidence, 2 explanations. Generally that's what's recommended, but you can get away with just having 1. Okay, so let's take a look at it. All right, so first body paragraph. What the heck is the first body paragraph supposed to be about? All right, so what did you say? You said that you were going to be talking about these things, right? So you said you were going to talk about these rules, and that's what you said in your thesis statement. You said that you were going to be talking about these rules. So think about it like a race response. You need to restate, and your first restate is going to be about that first rule that you talked about. So I'm essentially going to write a restate about that first rule. So I want to have a transition word. So my transition word is going to be like first or to begin, something like that. So I could say, you could even get fancy with it, and you could say something like, one of the first rules we are introduced to is, yeah, if you want to get fancy. Okay, I'm just going to be very basic, and I'm going to say first, rule number 4, okay, is, and I'm literally going to quote rule number 4 here. All right, so I need to go into the text and I need to go find rule number 4. You guys can remember that I put that document up that has all the different parts of each rule in Schoology. Make sure if you miss. So you don't have to go looking through the book if you don't want to. I'm going to explain these slashes here in just a second. Okay, so these slashes here, traditionally when you are quoting poetry, which is what this is, whenever there is the end of a line, so you'll see like for this one, the end of this line is miss. So at the end of the line for miss, I put a slash. So that's what you should do. And notice that there is a space there. So the slash mark should have a space in front of it and a space behind it. Okay, so first I tell my audience what the rule is, because I'm going to assume that my audience doesn't know what it is. You can't assume that. Pretend the reader is your mom, your dad, your cousin, your friend. They've never read this book before. They don't know what it is. Okay? All right. Then we need to tell them what it means. What does that rule mean to us? So we're going back to this part, okay? What does that mean? All right, so if you miss enough of life's free throws, you will pay in the end. The rule means, okay, that if you take ... Okay, I'm just, for time's sake, I'm not going to write out everything. Okay, so then I need to talk about the dad's character. Now, just to give you guys an idea here, when it comes to, you'll notice here, we have, we have evidence, explanation, evidence, explanation. So this is evidence number 1. This is evidence number 2. Okay. Evidence number 1 is basically you talking about the character. So this chunk up here. And then evidence number 2 is you talking about real life. About this part. So really, you're going to have basically everything you need. You're going to be able to write out a full entire paragraph here. So after you explain over here, the rule means, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, okay, proof you are right. So how do I know this is right? So I can say, for example, in the text, Chuck Bell constantly is eating unhealthily and his body is warning him that something is wrong. Okay. Then I want to explain that evidence. I'm going to remind you that up in our classroom, we have these sentence starters. So I can look up on my wall and I can say, this is relevant because eventually Chuck has a heart attack. This shows that this proves that rule number 4 is correct because, right? You got it? Okay. Okay. The only one that I'm assuming you guys might struggle with is number 6. Oop, let's make sure you can see that. You want to write a sentence to wrap it up. Okay. Try to think of a sentence at the very end of your paragraph to end talking about this rule. So you want to have kind of a conclusion sentence. Okay. What do we learn about rule number 4? What is rule number 4? You can say, you can have kind of a conclusion. Let me show you. Kind of like one of these, in summary, in conclusion, therefore, all in all. Kind of like one of these kind of words where you have a way of like, in the end, we learned that. It's like a way to end the paragraph so the audience knows that I'm finished talking about this rule now. I'm about to go talk about the next rule. Okay? So now I am, personally, I'm done talking about this one. The way that we talked about the first body, you're doing the exact same thing when it comes to the second body paragraph and the third body paragraph. So you guys are essentially writing race responses with 2 pieces of evidence for each one. So in the first piece of evidence, you're bringing in a part about the character. And the second piece of evidence, you're bringing in a part about real life. And remember, I said that you can either talk about a personal example, like I said, I would probably talk about my grandpa ignoring his health problems, right? So depending on what the rule is, you can bring in something personal from your own life, or you can talk about something in the world, like health in general, whatever relates to that rule. And then you should have a conclusion sentence. As long as you follow along with these and you can do those little check marks like I did beforehand, you should be good. And this should be between 6 and 10 sentences for each one. Okay. I think that's it. I'm going to have a conclusion video for you guys tomorrow. Let me know, obviously, during class if you have any questions. But I want you guys to think of these basically like giant race responses. That's all they are. And the only thing that you have to remember to do is constantly go back and check your writing when you're done, just to make sure that you are putting in your punctuation and your capitalization, because sometimes when we're writing, we don't remember to go back and do that because we're so focused on the actual writing part. Okay. All right. So bother me in class if you need some help. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye.